So hey you guys, this format is gonna be a little different this time because my some of the technologies that I have is not working right now, so we're going to change the format a little bit to just more so talking about life a little bit, at least for this one. And hopefully for the next one I will be getting everything back in order, and then I can have a lot more graphics that will be kind of helpful to my explanation. But yeah, it kind of depends on what you guys like. And in the meantime, I'll be having my breakfast. These are pistachios. I'm having pistachios for breakfast. I know you guys must think I'm nuts for having nuts for breakfast because they taste okay. It's not especially good. Just kind of tired of eating bread for breakfast all the time, having coffee. But so kind of switching up a little bit, and plus kind of has like this little pop on the crust. How when you like open it, kind of breaks it. Makes you kind of feel like you worked for it, because that's what life is about. You work for things and you feel really accomplished and you feel like a really cool person because you opened a bunch of pistachios. But for today, we're going to basically go through this article, and it's about virtual learning, social isolation, and how it really contributes to student depression. Because by now we pretty much been in virtual learning mode for everything since March. It's like 10 months. That's a long time. And by almost a whole year, we can really start to see the effects of how it's impacting everyone, especially mental health. Because back in my days, I still feel like a little too young to be saying that, but when I was in school, there wasn't that much virtual learning, and I didn't really like virtual learning either because you can't really learn much. Like there's things that are like educational, things you can learn from hearing someone say it, like the memory aspect of learning, but those are only so much in terms of like what you can learn, because a lot of things you have to do is like hands-on learning, experiential learning. Because if education and learning was all about, I don't know, memorizing, then everyone would be good with the textbook. Like that's all that would matter. So this has really taken a big toll on what society is like. And it's not really helping anyone. Like the parents are stressed out about trying to handle the whole family situation. You can tell like later on in the article. Yeah, I'll link the article somewhere so that you guys can come follow along if you want to. But parents are stressed out about how they have to constantly worry about their kids all the time because it's a full family. Damn. And if your family's constantly there, sometimes it's stressful. You know. And a huge aspect of this is the social part. It does talk about social, right? Yeah, social isolation. Yeah, social isolation contributes to the depression and isolation. Because a lot of the learning is not just like memorizing. You have to also think about how do you deal with talking to people. What do you do in certain situations? And some of these situations only come up if you put yourself in that environment to get it. It sounds kind of weird, but like for me, like there was once when I was out playing basketball. This was probably like a while ago. But we're running 5-on-5s, and it's pretty fun. And for me, I was the only non-African American on my team. Yeah. And everyone wanted to be Kobe. Everyone was doing isolation plays, no passing, jack up threes like crazy, and like if they were making them, great, but they weren't. And guess who had the most rebounds on my team? That's right, the short Asian guy. Not because I was tall, but because I was the only person actually getting the rebounds. And it's not like I was especially bad or good on the team. It's just that how do you actually learn to work with people that are different than you when all they want to do is shoot balls and never pass? Because if we all just end up like people that only shoot, don't pass, or want to pass but don't know how to pass, then we will end up like that team that I just been on. And yeah, no, we didn't win. We freaking lost because, you know, some people kept missing shots, and I didn't actually take that much shots either. I made a couple of layups. It was just a huge embarrassment. No teamwork at all. When the shortest guy on your team is getting all the rebounds, that's when you know something's wrong. But to bring this back a little bit, social contacts. Sometimes going to college, joining I'm pretty sure, yeah, there's some place where we talk about like after school activities. I'll link it. So yeah, right here, after school activities. These activities are kind of important because when we're trying to learn something, there's something that can only be learned through face-to-face talking. And not the kind where you do like a Zoom call and you have to unmute yourself. It's kind of like you have to be able to read the whole body language of the person. So this is why you do after school clubs where you get a chance to interact with people without having parents around to kind of helicopter your every move. Because the school environment is actually the best place, I feel like, for you to practice your social skills. Yes, you want guidance in terms of like when you go back home or maybe a teacher, not like a school teacher, but like parents, but like a social teacher to kind of give you guidance in terms of how to handle that situation. But then when you go out there and in a more informal setting with like your peers, that's when it's like real time work. Like that's when you don't have people to fall back on and you practice what you learn. For me, that's kind of like the real benefit of actually going to school, looking back. So I guess it's it's about getting good grades and making sure that you don't flunk out of school, because there are a lot of great materials and things that you will need to use later on in life, like addition, subtraction, because I totally use geometry later on, like right now in my life. But a huge aspect of school is really learning about how to interact with other people. Because in school, you don't really have that much things to be concerned about, except mainly the test itself, which can be very stressful. But you can focus on tests and at the same time practice interacting with other people. So in a way, school is pretty much like a pre-society where people don't really have that much. It's less complex, but at the same time, you can also learn with how exactly do you handle pressure. What happens when someone tries to make fun of you or gets you pissed off, or finding some underhanded ways to backstab you, or if someone mistaken what you say. Like, how do you handle these different situations? When you get into a conflict, a debate with someone, what do you do? And all these things are more like social skills that will allow you to know how to become part of a society later on. But right now, because we're in COVID time, where everyone's just chilling at home, maybe go out, run a little bit, we're missing a lot of this social aspect of life. And honestly, I think it's not going to be very helpful, because, just like this article is saying, there's an increase in counseling requests, and this is for both youth and parents, meaning that both sides are stressed out, everything is not very good. But the significance of having a school structure to provide that social benefit is very important. Very important. Or else people are having problems and they go to counseling, but maybe part of that counseling is actually to restore the lack of social interactions, because you're paying someone to talk to you, and at the same time that person can help find out what exactly is wrong. So yeah, I'm definitely talking about this article, but I don't know how you guys feel about virtual learning. And Zoom calls aren't actually very helpful, in my opinion. But another thing that I kind of want to talk about, I think it's kind of important, but usually not mentioned, is that there's usually a space between the child and the parent in order for the child to grow. We kind of talked about this a little bit about when I mentioned like helicopter parents. When you're in a virtual learning environment, sometimes the parent is like in the next room or right next to you. And that's not really good because you can't really learn if you don't have an opportunity to fail. And as soon as, let's say, you make a mistake and someone tells you that it's wrong, it becomes this reaction where you are anxious every time you're gonna make a mistake. And the most valuable lesson is to understand that when you fail, like, it's okay. Because we all can get back up and we can keep on moving. If you fail, it's not the end of the world. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. And having too much proximity between you and your parents when you're learning that, it might make learning a lot more difficult because no parent likes to see their kid fail or be not very good in certain subjects and tries to give them everything, which is, it's not a bad thing, it's a good intent. It's just that failure teaches you a lot more. And in a virtual environment, it's not a very good environment for it. Yeah, but that is it. Thanks for talking to me while I'm eating. Hopefully it's not too distracting. But next week we should have everything back and everything will be good, hopefully, and could get the regular videos going on. And yeah, I'm sorry I didn't really talk about the article at all. It's just kind of there. But I will talk to you guys next time. And